If I was going to put a title to what this all represents for me and my family in this community, it would be transition.
These images that you have are from where?
This is my father, Walter Luther Jackson Sr., product of Vicksburg, Mississippi. His childhood sweetheart, Bessie Lindsay Jackson, my mother. They decided to leave Vicksburg, Mississippi, settled in Brooklyn. My older brother, Walter Jr., and my older sister Helen were children then. And then the three of us being born here in New York, the Jackson triplets. And then we were about 4 years old and we moved to East Elmhurst. We lived here from 1951 on.
These folks look like they're middle class folks in Mississippi. When one thinks about Mississippi, you have a different picture of black folks.
He was just a worker. He graduated from high school, had aspirations to be an architect. But because his father got injured, he had to work. So he never got to go to college. He never got to pursue that part of his dream. And just like Van Dizzy used to document the black experience in Harlem, we always showed our best selves. So this might have been his only suit. It might have been her Sunday best. But when we took pictures, we always showed the best of ourselves. This is a picture of the wedding, for the family at the wedding of my older brother. My older brother gave me a book when I was graduating from middle school, and the book was one of Langston Hughes' simple stories, Simple Stakes to Claim. And the cover of the book, I found later on, Walter put in there, one day I hope you find out who Langston Hughes is. 20 years later, I started working at Langston Hughes Library.
Situate what the Langston Hughes Library is and how it's connected to you as a person and to your family.
I got the building in the early mid-60s. It opened up in 1969. The community realized that as a result of the Black Power movement and the civil rights movement, one of the gifts was access to books and library services. And that one of the things that we did not have in the borough of Queens was a library that focused on the black experience. That there were 59 libraries in the borough, but none of them had the story of the black experience for our children to go and learn their history from. The families of the community are part and parcel of the Langston Hughes Library. The foremost collection is the Black Heritage Reference Center of Queens County.
How did you feel when you first took the helm of the library?
My story was a little different. I was out of work for 18 months looking for work, and somebody says, you know, they need a position for somebody who comes from the community to help develop the library. And I said, okay. So I'm going there, it's just another job. January that year, I decided I'm going to run for the position of director. I think I can make a difference in this library. I started working there in 1980. Been there ever since. What I'm learning is that this is not just a typical library, that this library has a real significant purpose and mission in the community. We always felt that everything can't be just through books. Things have to be through visualization, hands-on, and tools, and access to the culture. So I would bring craft artists into Queens, and Queens becomes an extension of that. And in the meantime, I'm introduced to Black history. The mission of the collection takes on even more significance to me. I brought in authors and readers to come and do lectures on Black history. Larry Brown is a photographer and an archer. Arnold Rampersad, historian, author, professor. John Steptoe is a prominent author, illustrator. Ayoka Chinzira, she's an independent filmmaker back in about 85, 86. She was our artist in residence. Wesley Brown was another author who grew up in East Elmhurst, and this was when he was reading from his book Tragic Magic. One of the other transitions is becoming more Afrocentric and more connected to our African culture. This is Andrew P. Jackson. This is the suave debonair brother with the afro and the beard and the three-piece suit. I started going to Rikers Island and doing presentations for the inmates at Rikers Island, and realized one day I'm looking in the mirror and I look like John Q. Public. I'm going to talk to the brothers about being proud of their history and culture, and where am I showing my African pride then? I become this African man, so the first set of African names I'm given is Sekou Molefi Bako. Sekou, which means warrior, Molefi which means he keeps tradition, and Bako, which means firstborn. This is my mother, but one of her things was coming into the library and doing story hours. So she always shared that storytelling that she did with us growing up. The connection that I always used with her in libraries was she was a teacher, college degree teacher in Vicksburg. But because she was black, she couldn't use the public library. So that was my first origin to what libraries were about.
I didn't know about this library, about the vibrancy and also the history. It goes from, you know, that small you know, storefront right, to this.
This is the original building. We were in this building for 30 years. 1999, we moved into our current location, and it's twice the size of the original building. It's still in the heart of the community on Northern Boulevard. The community has made a major transition by now from being a black community to a predominantly Latino community. And part of the role of the library, and specifically the Black Heritage Collection, is to document that experience.